Hello everyone and welcome to another book review. So this one, as of recording, there are no review videos on this book, which was kind of surprising because sometimes it's nice once you kind of have your own formulated idea to look at other people's opinions and see kind of where you fall, especially if you're talking about a book, to just see what other people have been saying. I like to do that for some books, and I was like, oh, I'll just throw in a video while I'm getting ready this morning of other people's opinions on this book, and there were none. There are a few reviews on like Amazon and Goodreads, but there really wasn't any on like YouTube, which was weird because there is a growing community for the Morrigan and having her as your main deity, and it was a little more popular a few years ago, to be honest, but still, I was kind of surprised nobody's talked about this one. There's been a few on her newer book, but not as many for this one. So, anywho, this is the one we're talking about, Priestess of the Morrigan by Stephanie Woodfield. It came out last year in 2021, so maybe that has something to do with it. But again, her newest one still has a few out there, so I don't know. But we're gonna talk about this one today. So if you've liked her previous books and her other one that came out after this, you'll probably like this one. I love her writing style. I feel like she can really formulate her opinions and, you know, do her research really well, and she just presents the information in a very digestible way. She makes it so that she's not necessarily too teaching and too academic, but it's also not so casual. She finds that happy medium that can be really difficult to find in witchcraft authors. She did a really good job with that. I love her writing style. So if you like her other books, you'll probably end up liking this one. But if you haven't ever picked up one of her books, this is a good one for more advanced people. So I say advanced because this is a book that isn't for the beginner. This is not how to start working with the Morrigan. This isn't necessarily going over her myths. This is a book about how to be a priestess for this particular deity. Now, you can read this book and get a lot of information from it if you work with other deities. Might have to adjust some things here and there because obviously she's a very particular goddess, and there are just certain things that are going to be more related to her compared, you know, to say if you're gonna work with the goddess Isis, that's gonna be a very different vibe than the Morrigan. And you'd wanna adjust your rituals accordingly. But for the most part, people who are moving into the priest or priestess role will kind of be like, oh yeah, that's the life. Because it is very different if you go from just a practitioner to a devotee, to a dedicant, to being a priestess or a priest. And of course, traditions vary, but for the most part, if you're going to be a priestess or a priest or whatever, there is a very definitive line where it switches from you're working for the deity and you are now working for the community of the deity. And that's like where this book really hones in on. So if you're a solitary practitioner, there's good information in here, but like it is not aimed at you. Which, for me, I'm very solitary. I'm quite the introvert, so I'm not going to have a group. The most I've got is my fiance. So, like, a lot of this book is aimed at things I will never experience, nor do I particularly want to. Which is like, it's not like a downfall of this book, but it is a little obnoxious. But again, that's what this book is for. It's for the people that are going out there and are serving a community. And, you know, she has like a goddess retreat for her every year. I don't know about the last few years because it's been a weird time, but for the most part, she has a yearly thing that you can go for a weekend to work with the goddess Morrigan, and she, you know, picks a theme, does different rituals and stuff like that, and like her rituals sound phenomenal. I would love to go one year, but I mean, I think she's based in Florida, so I think I'd have to travel to Florida again, and that's expensive. But other than that, like, it's not something that I would ever do. I'm not gonna host anything like this. I'm not gonna host a ritual to do whatever, and a lot of this book does really hone in on the fact that you need a trusted group of people to rely on for a lot of her rituals that she includes in this, which is great if you have that. Now, for those of us who are more solitary, that's not an option. We don't have a group of trusted people for that. I have like one other person that magically I would trust, And even then, I'm still so solitary that it's like, I'll just do it myself, thank you. Because again, I'm way more solitary. So a lot of this book, like the rituals are intriguing, but they are very complicated to try to shrink down from the way that they're written, because it is written where you have a large group of people, you have supporting people and the priestess, because again this is written from the role of the priestess, so like the leader of the group. You have your support of whatever the people are doing, casting the circle, making sure you're good, and you know, you don't have people you know, kind of stepping boundaries and stuff, because that happens. You know, you've got all of that, and then you have what the participants are going to be doing. And it's really hard to like shrink all of those roles into one. And there, you can do it. It's just a lot of work, which personally I probably will not do, but I may write a few of these down in my Book of Shadows in the event that it ever happens. But for the most part, probably not. But that was my only major thing, is that it is really aimed at group setting and for serving a community, and that's not necessarily something I'm doing. Again, I'm way more solitary. Even if I do work with other people, it's still very small group, very kind of even playing field. We're not really like one's above the other. It's, you know, just we're all kind of here existing, doing our thing. But for those of you who do run covens or have groups or whatever, this might be a really great resource for you to use. So I just wanted to kind of have that be the main-ish point, I guess, because like, again, I'm very solitary. So even though I've worked with Morrigan for years and I can get some stuff from this book, for the most part, this was a book not written for me as like the main group. But if you are a priest or a priestess, and even if you don't work with the Morrigan, you work with some other deity, you work with Thor, or you work with Zeus or whatever, you know, like, you could still get quite a bit from this book, because it is kind of a universal experience in a lot of ways of being that role in a community, because you're the one that people are coming to for help, for advice, you're running the rituals. And she mentions this in this book and her one that came afterwards, but like, you're the one who's setting up and taking down stuff. You're the one running the venue. It's not all glamour and the fun that you might think it is. There's a lot of just mundane work that goes into it. And so I think this book does a really good job of like showing the full picture of it, and not just like, ooh, but being a priestess, it's such a fun title. But then in reality, like, there's a lot of work that goes behind it. So overall, if you are a more advanced practitioner and you're thinking about, you know, moving into like the priestess or coven setting, this might be a really good resource to read through, just to see kind of roughly what it might entail. Obviously your group might be completely different, but it gives a really good idea of what you might be getting into. So overall, I would definitely recommend this book if it is a topic that you're interested in, even if it isn't the deity that you're interested in, because it does have a lot of really good information in it, and she is a fantastic writer. I do hope she continues to write many more books, because she's such a good author. So anyways, that is going to be it for this review. I do have a few quotes that I pulled. I don't have a lot because I read this on the airplane, ironically, when we went to Florida. So, because she's based out there, but that wasn't why we went out there. We went out to Disney World and Universal, but I read this on the plane ride out there. So it's kind of hard to have a lot of quotes when you're like turbulence and screeching children and tiny little spaces, because if you're not skinny, an airplane is not a fun time. Like, you're just all just squished. But yeah, so anyways, I don't have a lot, but I have a handful of things that we'll be talking about on the Patreon extended discussion. It will be live at the same time as this, so be sure to check that out. And I do have things in the works coming up on Patreon if you want to support me. It's going to be changing up a bit over there, so just keep an eye out for that. I have a new project in the works. I have some things I have to figure out on like the logistics of like, does Patreon let me do this, or does it affect the whole platform of it? Because I have a specific thing I'm working towards. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I feel like this is a good time to work on that. So anyways, that'll be coming soon. And yeah, if you want to support me in the meanwhile, definitely go check out the Patreon. There's always various content going up over there. But again, it is going through some shifts and changes, just as I figured out like some things that work, some things that don't. It's an ongoing process. It's a community effort, so if I realize like something's not doing well over there, why would I continue? Because obviously people don't care. So why am I wasting my time and their time, and they're getting notifications for something I don't care about? So anyways, it's going through some changes, but hopefully good changes, as well as the channel. I'm trying to post more. So anyways, lots of stuff going on. I would definitely recommend you subscribe and check out all of my other book reviews. I post them every Wednesday, and I will see you all probably soon. I don't know what day. I'm aiming eventually towards posting most days of like Monday through Friday. And then Patreon things will be up on the weekends, so you're not getting a bunch of notifications, but like once every day-ish. So anyways, I have plans. They're happening slowly but surely. So anywho, I will see you all soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to y'all later.